Welcome to the Vegas Insider channel here on YouTube. Kevin Rogers and Brian Edwards with you as we look ahead to SEC action the first Saturday of November. And Brian wrapped up October with another perfect 3-0 here on this video. He laid the points with Ole Miss, their easy victory over Vanderbilt. He had Arkansas, who covered in a loss at Texas A&M. And he rode that Alabama first half train as they cruise past Mississippi State. So Brian, now 16-4 on these videos so far this season. And he has 3 more SEC games to break down as we bring in Brian Edwards. And Brian, let's begin with whatever they're calling the game in Jacksonville, the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. I don't know what it's called anymore, but it's Florida and Georgia. Huge game for both these teams, both coming in with 1 loss, both off wins last week. Not off the bye because of some scheduling conflicts. So they had to move things around. But what do you think about the Gators here as an underdog against the Bulldogs?
I love the Gators. I got them at +5 Sunday night, but I love them to win outright. So most books, as we're recording here on Wednesday, are +3 or +3.5. And I think you're good there. The money line, if it's a +140, maybe get you a touch of that for less. So Georgia has won 3 in a row over the Gators, but they've not won 4 in a row since the 80s. And look, they've had the quarterback edge these last 3 years with Jacob Fromm, twice against Felipe Franks where he had the edge, period. But, one of the times was when Franks was a freshman and was just terrible. Now Florida has the QB edge. Stetson Bennett's thrown 5 interceptions in the last 2 weeks for Georgia. Since arriving in Gainesville in 2018, Dan Mullen's been an underdog 7 times. He is 4-1-2 pushes against the spread with 4 outright wins. Kyle Trask has been nothing short of sensational all year, 18-2 TDI-NT ratio. And after Florida's defense struggled really bad the first 3 games, even though they were missing 3 guys in the secondary that are all starters, they held Missouri basically to 3 points until less than 4 minutes left, and Mizzou got a touchdown run, but the other touchdown they had previous to that was a pick 6, and Kyrie Campbell gave UF's run defense a big lift. He, for undisclosed reasons, had missed the first 3 games. But another big factor in this game is the massive amount of injuries that Georgia has, and on the flip side, those 3 guys and some other reserves that were missing for Florida last week, they all tested positive 2 Saturdays ago. Now, they may not practice until today or tomorrow, but they should be cleared to play. And yesterday, there were no new COVID positives for Florida, and they've had 68 players test positive since arriving in July. So I think UF is past that, and that's a good thing. But these injuries for Georgia are huge. Richard LeCount, their first-team All-SEC safety, and pretty much the quarterback of their defense, first-team All-SEC safety last year, and on his way to doing it again this year, he got in a motorcycle or dirt bike wreck Saturday night. He's not only out this week, but for several weeks. Julian Rochester, starting defensive tackle, out for the season with an ACL. George Pickens, who led them in every receiving stat last year, didn't make the trip to Lexington last week. He's very questionable this week. So is starting cornerback Lewis Sine. And also Jordan Davis, the nose tackle, fractured his elbow. Kirby implied he might be able to play with a brace. I don't think so. And then Quay, what is Quay's last name? I want to say either Walker or I'm pretty sure it's Walker. He's questionable too. So lots of injuries for Georgia. Florida finally has the QB edge, and they're catching points. All about the Gators.
All right, so Brian has the Gators against Georgia in Jacksonville on Saturday. Now, taking a look at our second SEC game, Mississippi State hosting Vanderbilt, and Mississippi State knocked off LSU in Mike Leach's debut. KJ Costello broke the SEC passing yards record for a game, but since then the Bulldogs haven't won. And Vanderbilt hasn't won at all this year. They were blown up by Ole Miss. Brian had the Rebels last week, and now they got the Bulldogs. So Mississippi State and Vandy with the Bulldogs laying nearly 3 touchdowns, Brian.
Yeah, is it wise to back a team that has lost 4 games in a row laying more than 2 touchdowns? Heck no. However, with this Vanderbilt team, I think we can make an exception here. I've said it 100 times. Love Derek Mason, great guy, great enthusiasm. But man, this Vanderbilt, and this is a tough statement to make. This is the worst Vanderbilt team in a couple of decades, and that's a strong statement. And I think it's a get-right game for Mississippi State. Look, ever since KJ had that great game, he was 1 for 8 TD to INT ratio going into last week. He got a concussion, so Will Rogers, the freshman, is going to start this week. But look, Mississippi State's defense has been good this year, and despite the just abysmal offense in the last few games. Mississippi State is second in the SEC in run defense and total defense, and third in pass defense, and Vandy's offense is abysmal. And I think Mississippi State's offense will get right here, and I think they win by 21 or more. But let me be just clear. We are fading a bad Vandy team that has been outscored 136-35 despite being at home in their last 3 against LSU, South Carolina, and Ole Miss. And those 3 teams have a combined 6-10 record, yet they've outscored Vandy by 101 points in 3 games in Nashville.
So Brian's got Mississippi State to cruise over Vanderbilt as his second selection. And for the last SEC game, it's Texas A&M traveling to Columbia, South Carolina to take on Will Muschamp's Gamecocks. South Carolina, who had won 2 straight, they were blown out by LSU in their last game. And A&M comes in with a 5-1 record, got the non-cover against Arkansas. But we'll see what the Aggies do here as a double-digit road favorite, Brian.
Yeah, I like South Carolina, whether it's +10 or 10.5, which is where a lot of books are here on Wednesday. Muschamp's been pretty good. Just as an underdog this year, they're 3-1 against the spread. And when Jimbo's team has been favored by double digits twice this year, they're 0-2 against the spread. And I love the emergence of Kevin Harris, the sophomore running back for South Carolina. He's been over 100 yards 3 of the last 4 games, and the only one he wasn't, he had like 83 or so yards. For the season, 634 rushing yards, 8 touchdowns, 5.8 yards per carry. Also has 99 receiving yards and another touchdown. South Carolina's had 2 weeks to prepare. A&M has not. And South Carolina is back at home where they last won 30-22 over Auburn. And look, they got beat by LSU, but in my mind, it was a little misleading final. When the game was close early, South Carolina missed a couple field goals, and they were driving down 14, and they threw a pick 6. And then when they cut it to 14 early in the third, LSU returned a kickoff for a touchdown. So seemingly every time South Carolina was about to get, somewhat back in the game, just something awful happened. But I think they can get right at home here. And I won't be shocked if South Carolina wins outright, but I like them as a double-digit dog.
So to review Brian's 3 picks for this week in the SEC, he's going to take the points with Florida against Georgia. He's going to lay the points with Mississippi State to keep Vanderbilt winless. And he is taking the points with South Carolina at home against Texas A&M. Brian's 16-4 on these videos so far this season. He was a perfect 3-0 on Halloween Saturday last week. And we'll see if Brian can keep that up again this week. For Brian Edwards, I am Kevin Rogers. Thanks for watching, and best of luck with your bets.